Now, we've all heard it said before, don't place all your eggs in one basket. Make sure to diversify and to hedge against risk by spreading out your investments and savings vehicles in different asset classes and different commodities and different companies, whatever the case is. You've always been told to spread it out, but in today's video, I want to talk about somebody out there because there are people here on this channel that want to save and invest strictly within the precious metals community. All right, so we're talking stacking physical, tangible precious metals as well as investing in those gold, silver, and platinum mining companies. All right, so in today's video, we're going to break it into two parts. This video will start out with an update on junior gold mining company Nevada King, and just after that, a discussion on some of the differences between stacking gold and silver, what the financial advisors recommend for various situations when it comes to diversification, and lastly, we're going to talk about my personal stack allocation of gold, silver, and platinum, so stay tuned, everybody, because we got a lot to cover today. Let's get started. Hey, all right, welcome back, everybody. I'm happy to have you here. If this is your first time here and you love gold and silver just as much as I do, then please do consider subscribing to the channel for several videos each week that do include unboxings and reviews of silver and gold coins and bars. Now, when it comes to investing in gold and silver, there are several popular ETF options out there, many of which you've probably heard of, like GLD and SLV. Now, both of those ETFs provide exposure to the spot price of the metal. They're not exactly on spot price, but they do more or less follow the market price of gold and silver. I myself prefer to invest in individual companies within the precious metal segment, those companies that I believe to be the winners, okay? Because there's a lot of junk out there. While this is investing for profit and not stacking physical metals as a currency hedge or as a savings account like I like to do, I have profited from these investments this year by following the market, right? That has been the key for me, following the market. And as a stacker with a YouTube channel, I'm always watching the market, so it's not a problem here, okay? I do that to make informed decisions and also to determine what content to make for you guys, my viewers. All right, before we go forward, please note that junior gold miners can be very risky, and they do tend to be volatile compared to holding physical metals. So if you are 100% risk averse and you absolutely have to hold your assets in your hands, stick to stacking physical gold and silver coins. But if you want to diversify a little bit, if you want to take on a little bit more risk with the possibilities of much greater rewards, I have found pretty good success by finding the right management teams with the best track records in the industry, those that create value for shareholders. And I make a list of these companies, I report on these companies, and then I combine that with analysis of the overall sector. Otherwise known as, I like to buy these companies when prices are low across the board, okay? I'm not trying to pick one or two here out of 10 or 20. I'm waiting for that overall market correction and then purchasing those better options, okay? So speaking of doing quite well, the biggest winner in the entire gold sector this year has been a company that we've covered here on the channel, and that's going to be New Found Gold. Now, I've covered New Found Gold in the past, and I'll go ahead and link you to that video up above. So once you're done viewing this video, feel free to check that one out if you want to find out more information about New Found Gold, that is. And New Found Gold was a penny stock around the time that we covered it, like many of the other stocks. However, due to its recent success, is now trading between $7 and $8, and you can see that here. I'd like to remind my viewers that the same founders, the same management team, and the same exact strategy that was used to build New Found Gold up to a 1.6 billion giant, those same strategies and techniques are being executed right now with Nevada King, okay? So this is going to be a follow-up on my May video covering Nevada King and its much smaller $80 million market cap. Now, I'd like to thank Nevada King for sponsoring today's video and update from our original coverage of this last May. Now, New Found Gold founder Colin Cattell is looking to hit it big again with Nevada King, okay? He owns both companies. While both companies pursued the strategy of buying large land packages with proven gold reserves and large drilling budgets, Nevada King is still in the drilling phase of operations and therefore has yet to see the same massive gains in stock valuation as New Found Gold. To put it simply, Nevada King is more speculative at this time, okay? of the two when comparing them side by side, but things are looking very attractive price-wise right now as Nevada King and the overall precious metals sector has been beaten up pretty bad of late. Okay, so prices are down while, inflation is definitely picking up, and there are plenty of great reasons out there to be in gold and silver in the mining sector altogether. Now, progress at Nevada King, operationally speaking, has been terrific this year. Nevada King has staked 7,000 claims in Nevada's most prolific mineral belt, Battle Mountain. We'll talk more about Battle Mountain. And since its formation in 2015, at depths of the bear market in gold. Now, back in 2015, gold wasn't doing a whole lot. There was very little money and even more, or should I say, even less investors that were willing to really engage in this contrarianism and to risk time and funds on entrepreneurship with gold and silver. Fortunately, Colin is different. He's a smart guy, and Nevada is the #1 gold producing region on earth. He knew that, so he saw the opportunity and he went for it. So it's been said that if Nevada were its own country, it would be the 4th largest producer, which I mentioned last May on my initial coverage of Nevada King. The company states that 98% of its ground has been acquired via staking, and as such, the company does not owe past owners royalty rights. That's important there, okay? It's like, having to pay rent, right? Or JV agreements on the majority of its ground. Okay, none of that stuff exists. In this case, the shareholders are the claim holders, and with a nearly $10 million annual budget for exploration and development in this very famous gold sector of Nevada, the company is serious about Battle Mountain and expects outstanding results, which I'm pretty sure they're going to deliver on. Currently, the company has mixed ownership when it comes to its share structure, with approximately 5% of the company owned by the management team and the board, whereas 56% is owned by individual investors, and roughly 39% of the company is owned by Palisades Gold, a Canadian precious metals royalty company. For more information on royalty companies and the advantages of investing in them, check out my precious metals mining and royalty companies playlist. It'll cover all those things for you so you know the difference between the two. Now, a key fact to consider when looking at Nevada Gold is the growing discussion around peak mining, and with supply chain disruptions becoming more commonplace over the last 2 years, there's some speculation about peak gold and how the slowdown in mining may contribute to less supply over time. Here you can see that the majority of the world's gold is mined on the Asian continent today, but that hasn't always been the case. Gold mining has been on the decline due to the lack of new discoveries, making sites like Battle Mountain, with its proven reserves, more desirable and affordable to mine. There have already been 4 previous peaks in gold production across modern history, but with fewer discoveries taking place each decade, a growing population of human beings here on Earth, and demand for gold increasing along with that, there are some concerns also of long-period inflation taking place. The case for gold is strong as ever, and honestly, it's growing. So if you're interested in learning more about Nevada King Gold, please do take a look down in the video description section, as I'll have a host of links to information on the company. Now, shifting to physical precious metals and stacking, I often hear the question of what should you stack? Okay, should I stack gold or should I stack silver? And I have a question for you. Do you have to pick just one? And the answer is no. If the answer is no for you as well, then how much of each metal should you hold is another great question. But before I give you my personal opinion, let's take a look at some facts to consider about each of these 2 primary monetary precious metals. Now, first, gold is much more expensive than silver. That's pretty obvious, currently trading at around 74 times the value of silver. The difference between the spot prices of both metals is known as the gold to silver ratio, or the GSR. Now, this ratio does move as the price of gold and silver changes, so it changes almost daily. The ratio becomes smaller as silver gains in value compared to gold and grows wider when the opposite occurs. Due to the price of gold, many consider it too expensive to buy and hold and turn to silver to buy and hold due to that price. If having more weight is something more important to you, for instance, then I'd consider stacking more silver due to its much lower price. While gold trades at around 74 times the value of silver, it is only around 8 to 9 times more rare than silver. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Geological Survey reported just 3,300 tons of gold were mined in 2019, with 27,000 tons of silver. That does fall in line with that roughly 9-to-1 ratio. So with a 9-to-1 ratio, one could reason that silver is currently cheap when comparing the actual rarity of each of the metals together. If you have a longer time horizon to stack, and honestly, if you can withstand more price fluctuations, okay, over time, then silver does offer more opportunity at today's prices and a lower price than gold and may be better for you as a stacker. Silver is much more closely tied to industry, being more of an industrial metal than gold. Silver is commonly required for the manufacture of electronics, medical equipment, solar panels, automobiles, and much more than that. Whereas gold is largely viewed as a pure monetary metal or a store of value or wealth. And this is why banks and countries hold gold, while corporations require silver as part of their operations. Now, based on these facts, silver is also much more volatile than gold, being tied more closely to the overall economic outlook, okay? That's all things industry. And because of that, expect many more short-term price fluctuations with silver than with gold. So if you're completely risk averse once again, then gold is likely the better option for you as its price remains more stable over time. If you see strong economic demand, however, if you see the economy starting to boom, then that's probably a pretty good bullish indicator for silver. Now, gold is also a lot more dense than silver, taking up quite a bit less space ounce for ounce. Add the fact that more dense metal is also a lot more valuable, okay? The more dense metal is more valuable. It does make storing a lot of wealth in gold a very, easy thing to do in a small space, okay? So if storage and maintenance are a big concern for you, if you want to be able to, grab a bunch of wealth in a small package and travel with it, then gold is definitely for you. Lastly, you have to consider the premiums over spot price to purchase and hold physical gold and silver. And as a precious metal stacker, you do want to buy metal as close to the current spot price as you can. And that is to maximize your value and to avoid, handing too much cash over to the dealers and the brokers, okay? You want to shop for the best price. Now, over the last 2 years, we have seen premiums over spot on silver move much higher than that of gold when comparing the two on a percentage basis. Now, don't get me wrong, premiums on gold have definitely come up quite a bit too. But if avoiding premiums is your target, right, your number one goal, then I'd also consider 1-ounce gold bars or coins as your target option, and perhaps generic 100-ounce silver bars, okay? Because you're going to get more silver there at a lower premium. So if you're a budget stacker, completely a budget stacker with a long-term horizon, stick to those 1-ounce gold coins and bars, and perhaps 10-ounce or larger silver bars like the 100-ounce I mentioned. You'll add more weight for a lower price using that method. Now, in summary, experts do recommend that you hold more gold as you age in a similar fashion to holding more safe investments or stocks or bonds, that are less risky, maybe value companies and not necessarily growth companies. The same applies to silver and gold, okay? Consider silver to be more along the growth side of things. It's more speculative. And gold to be along the lines of value, okay? So consider those two factors when making that decision. All right, so in case you guys were wondering, I am in my young 40s. I am raising a couple of small kids. Not alone. I do have a beautiful wife, and she's wonderful. But I am the sole income earner for my family. And as I'm younger and have, honestly, very little debt for my age, I can afford to take on more risk in my investments as well as my savings options. And so for 2021, I have maintained an approximate 65% stake in silver. That is, if you were to add up the total value of my stack, roughly 65% of that value comes from silver, whereas 30% of that value comes from gold, and a little less than 5% in value right now in platinum, give or take a few points on either side. Now, I do want to accumulate as much silver as I can while prices are historically low, and I don't honestly know how much longer we're going to have these historically low prices. It could happen at any moment, all right? So I'm a steady state stacker. I'm buying every paycheck. I'm always adding gold and silver to the stack. However, I also do want stability in my savings. Stability is important, and as I age, that stability will become even more important, and so I will gradually shift my focus more towards gold each year as I age. All right, so that's my approach for holding physical coins and bars as a savings or as a hedge, free from counterparty risk, while also making informed and well-timed investments, keyword there, well-timed investments, in the companies that mine, refine, as well as finance the precious metals that we love to buy and hold. All right, so it's been successful for me following that approach. I'm not trying to weed through the chaff, whatever the proper term is, and find, the diamond in the rough. Nope, I'm looking at great companies with great management teams, waiting for that market to correct, jumping in, and when the market runs up at a much larger percentage basis than spot price is actually rising in value, I'll sell those stocks, and some of those, better performing stocks I'll just go ahead and hold on to for the long term. It's been successful for me. It's a contrarian approach, but it is one that does require some risk, but more importantly, quite a bit of patience. So what do you think about my allocation of physical metals? 65% silver, roughly 30% gold, and 5% platinum for someone in their young 40s. And what are your thoughts on the possibilities of declining new gold? That is, new found gold, not the company, but gold coming out of the ground. What are your thoughts on the possibility of potential supply chain crunch in the future? And also, I'd like to know what the factors are that you considered when making purchases of physical metal, whether it be silver or gold. What drove you? So thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate you being here and supporting the channel. Also, thank you once again to the team at Nevada King Gold. I do appreciate you viewing this segment. It goes a long way in helping my channel, in getting that support from my family to continue to put so much time and effort into YouTube instead of other, pursuits in life and family time and all that. But I do want to wish you all a wonderful day or night wherever you're at. And of course, I do hope to see you back again soon on another Precious Metals focused video here with the Florida Stacker. That's it for today, friends. Take care.